This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good. Yeah. So we're in the midst of the 3 weeks. What do the 3 weeks mean? What 3 weeks? Good. Starting with the 17th of Tammuz. With what happened on that day?
Moses brought the Ten Commandments and he saw the golden calf and he got upset and broke that.
Good. He broke it. Good. Number one. What else?
The temples were destroyed?
Not yet.
Oh.
The walls to Jerusalem were breached on the 17th of Tammuz, which led 3 weeks later to the temples actually being destroyed. The Gemara actually says there were 5 things that happened on that day. The Apostomus burned the Torah, right? I was just listening to a shir on the way here. Exactly who was Apostomus, it's not so clear. And tragically, there have been many Torahs that have been burnt. What's so tragic about this Torah being burnt, right? More than others, is always tragic. And some say that this was the Torah written by Moshe, right? Or the Torah written by Ezra. So this was the authoritative Torah, right? With which any questions that came up, it was always reviewed against that. Okay. And we said that during these 3 weeks, music, we abstain from listening, certainly live music, right? No weddings are scheduled. You guys have to wait just a little bit, sorry. No weddings are scheduled for during these 3 weeks. For men, haircuts, trimming, unless one needs to for work, right? So that we don't do.
And then we don't eat meat.
Well, we'll get to that soon. The next stage of those 3 weeks is once we hit the first. Yeah. Okay, I have to send my newsletter. I almost forgot to do that. Good, thanks for reminding me. The next thing that we have is once we hit the start of the month of Av, Rosh Chodesh Av, the start of the month of Av. Okay, then the 9 days begin. The 9 days are not on top of those 3 weeks, they are within those 3 weeks. Now, during the 9 days, as we are getting closer to Tisha B'Av, we are ramping up our mourning, MOURNING, practices. Okay? So starting with the 9 days, which is this Shabbos, but doesn't apply to Shabbos days, okay? As we said, we don't eat meat, including chicken, or drink wine.
Don't do laundry.
Okay, just 1 second with that. So that Shabbos we can. Okay, on Shabbos, both this Shabbos and next Shabbos, which is actually Erev Tisha B'Av, that's the 8th. Tisha B'Av, by the way, means the 9th of Av. Okay, so next Shabbos, this Shabbos is the 1st of Av. Next Shabbos is the 8th of Av. So we actually have 2 Shabboses as part of the 9 days. During both of those Shabboses, we do eat meat, chicken, and drink wine. Where it gets a little interesting is when it comes to Havdalah. Okay, so what do we do? And wine includes also grape juice. So what do we do with Havdalah? Because Havdalah, it's already Shabbos ending. So now we no longer have that Shabbos suspension of allowing to have the wine. So what do we do with Havdalah? So yes?
We skip the wine?
No. So what we'll do is, if there is a child who has reached the age of chinuch, but not yet bar mitzvah, that child, or bat mitzvah, that child will drink the wine as opposed to the person making Havdalah drinking the wine. If there is no such child, then the person will drink the wine. Okay? So one of the prohibitions of the 9 days is meat, chicken, wine during the weekdays of the 9 days. So not on Shabbos, but that next week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no meat, no chicken, no wine, no grape juice. Another prohibition that we have is in terms of laundry. Like an avel, an actual mourner, does not wear freshly laundered garments. We're not talking about undergarments. We're talking about shirts, pants, skirts, blouses, etc. Okay? So we don't do laundry during the 9 days, right? If we have, if one has small children and needs to wash laundry for them, they can. But we don't do laundry during the 9 days. We also don't wear freshly laundered garments during the 9 days. Okay, so one can simply put on a shirt or a blouse or skirt for 10, 15 minutes, hang it back up in the closet, and then have it during, right, a number of them, and have it for during next week. Okay, but no laundry is done during that time.
So it has to be worn prior to, like we can't just, take something from our closet and start it clean. It has to be worn prior.
Correct. It should be pre-worn.
What about going in the water? Like,
Okay.
remember, like swimming in the beach
Correct.
in Israel is like prohibited.
Oh, correct. Swimming, bathing during the 9 days, similar again to a mourner, right? A mourner is for one of the 7 close relatives upon their passing, right? And the 7 are 2 upper generation parents, 2 down generation, son, daughter, 3 parallel generation, brother, sister, spouse. Okay? So if any of those 7 pass away, a person becomes, not for grandparents, not for uncle, aunt, etc., not for in-laws, for any of those 7, a person becomes a mourner. And during that Shiva period, right? You've heard the expression of sitting Shiva. Shiva is 7. So it's during those 7 days after the passing that one sits Shiva, so to speak. So there one does not bathe and does not wear freshly, does not launder, does not wear freshly laundered garments. Actually, during the Shiva, a person repeatedly wears the outer garments that they wore at the funeral, the torn shirt, blouse, whatever it is that a person was wearing. Yes.
So he was asking about like swimming in the beach.
Okay.
But what about not just getting into the water, but what about going to the beach and maybe just like sitting on the sand or something?
That's not going to be an issue. Okay? It's going to be the bathing or swimming that's going to be an issue. But in order to remove perspiration or dirt, one is allowed to shower or bathe, right? And in our world, where people, unless they're bathing, twice a day, they feel all, right, depending on, right? So a person is accustomed to bathing on a daily basis. So, and one feels, sweaty and dirty, right? So one would be able to bathe to remove this feeling of, I feel disgusting, right? But certainly it should be in a less luxurious fashion than usual, right? Water not as hot, not as long. For Shabbos, right? So this Shabbos, it's not an issue because this Shabbos is still before the 9 days. But for next Shabbos, which is the 8th of Av, within the 9 days, so L'Kavod Shabbos, one is allowed to bathe, right? Shower, whatever it is, but once again, in a less luxurious fashion. Now, in terms of not wearing freshly laundered garments, once again, Shabbos, that does not apply. And one can and should wear their proper, nice Shabbos garments. Yes?
I'm a little confused on the clothing. I brought up a question that you reuse the
Right.
So is it like you have 9 different outfits or that same outfit?
As you wish. Meaning, if you want to...
And the outfits have to be have been pre-worn.
Correct.
So digging in the laundry basket and getting all of the outfits out?
So depending on how many outfits a person wants to wear the next week, that's how many they should just put on for 10 minutes or so, then hang it back up in their closet. And that way they're all set. Okay? Good. Okay? We don't buy things during the 9 days, right? We're talking about garments, nice garments. We don't do house repairs. We don't do, right? Unless there's something that, unless you get it now, it's going to be a lot more expensive afterwards, right? Then one would not be doing that. Patio replacements, things like that would not be done during these 9 days.
So you can't go grocery shopping?
Grocery shopping, you certainly can, right? It's only sort of, right, you need to get some medicine from, I don't want to say Rite Aid anymore, how Rite Aid just closed, right? But, right, you want to go to, you need to pick up medication, you need to toothpaste, you need groceries, absolutely, right? It's only more, new clothing, right? Correct, right? If a person needs new undergarments, they can buy undergarments, but you wouldn't go get yourself a nice suit, right? You wouldn't get yourself a nice dress. You'd put that off until after that time. Okay. Yes. Then we said painting, home decorating. Yeah. Okay.
What about, I'm just thinking because I'm organizing and redecorating my office at work. Would that be something that's kind of prohibited during that time?
No, moving things around, organizing things, construction work you wouldn't want to have done over there, right? You want to move the desk over here and hang up a bulletin board over there. That's not going to be an issue. Okay. Now, typically, the day before Tisha B'Av, Erev Tisha B'Av has its own set of laws that apply to it. Most significantly, that we have what's called the Seuda HaMafseket. Seuda means a meal. Mafseket is what separates, right? You're going to need to study with Natalie. Have you had the marriage studying at all? Okay. So you need to start doing that with Natalie, right? They said you're within like 30 to 60 days? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have to, when we get back from Florida, you'll need to get started with her.
When do you guys come back?
We'll be back, we're leaving tomorrow morning, we'll be back next week. By Wednesday we'll be back. Okay. Yeah. And I'll have to be going over with you also, right? But it's mostly the onus is on you. So, with all the important things, it's on the wife. The husband, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So normally we have what's called the Seuda HaMafseket, which is the meal that separates before the period when we're allowed to eat and actually Tisha B'Av itself. Right? Tisha B'Av starts at night. Okay. And the Seuda HaMafseket is just typically bread, a hard-boiled egg, and that's eaten while sitting on the floor. Now, earlier in the day, you could have a real meal. Obviously not meat or anything like that, right? Which you don't have during the 9 days. But there, it's more of a ceremonial meal, and we actually dip the egg in ashes as we're eating that egg, okay? This year, that will not apply because this year, the 8th of Av is on Shabbos. So therefore, we have regular Shabbos meals without any change in the menu, but a change that we do have is that typically the third meal on Shabbos, Sudash Lishit, we eat that before sunset, and we continue eating until we bench, and then we daven Mariv, evening service. Here you'll have to, it's on the calendar, you'll have to stop eating before sunset on Shabbos day. Okay? That's why our schedule that Shabbos here in Shul is different. Typically, we daven Shacharis, we daven Musaf, and then we have our Kiddush, and then we come back to Shul later in the afternoon for Mincha, afternoon service, Sudash Lishit, the third meal, and Mariv. Here we're going to daven Mincha right after the Kiddush, and then we're only, let's say Shabbos ends, I don't know exactly what it is. Let's say Shabbos ends at 8:30. We will reconvene back here at Shul at 8:45 for Mariv and the special Mariv that we say at Tisha B'Av and the reading of Megillat Eicha. Megillah, there are 5 scrolls that are read throughout the year. The book of Esther is read on Purim. The book of Song of Songs is read on Pesach. The book of Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, is read on Sukkot. The book of Ruth is read on Shavuot. And the book of Eicha Lamentations is read on Tisha B'Av. Okay? So on Tisha B'Av itself, right? So, well, let me ask you guys. So if we haven't yet davened Mariv, and we're not going to make Havdalah Saturday night, this Saturday night, yes. Next Saturday night, we're not going to make Havdalah. We can't drink the wine. We can't do anything, right? So then how do we drive back to Shul? What allows us to drive? If we're not doing Havdalah, so we haven't ended Shabbos, how are you, Rabbi Senior, telling us to come back and drive to Shul Saturday night? We haven't yet made Havdalah. Is this on the test?
That's a good question.
It's come off the quarter circle.
Beautiful.
Wait, what did you say?
So what a person can do is, if you want to do malacha, you want to do non-Shabbos permitted activities, once Shabbos has ended, but you have not yet heard or made Havdalah, you could do a quasi-Havdalah of saying the words, Baruch Hamavdil Bein Kodesh L'chol. Let me record that on our little app over here. Okay, just 1 second.
They can ask the question, you have to write it down.
What I did so far, they said
If a person needs to do non-Shabbos sanctioned activities once Shabbos has ended according to the clock, but has not yet heard Havdalah, then one simply says, colon,
What if you forgot, you know? It's scary.
Yeah.
Baruch Hamavdil Bein Kodesh L'chol, which means, blessed is the one who separates between the holy and the mundane. Baruch Hamavdil Bein Kodesh L'chol. Now, that comes in handy. That we need to, right? In other words, let's say I'm going to make Havdalah for the shul here after Mariv. Now, there was a paragraph that I should have said in my Amidah of Saturday night Mariv, which includes those words. But let's say I forgot to include that paragraph, and I don't need to repeat the Amidah because of that. Then before I light the candle, I need to say, Baruch Hamavdil Bein Kodesh L'chol. Hello, Mr. Ray. This is a cameo appearance. I'm out again tomorrow morning before davening. Baruch Hamavdil Bein Kodesh L'chol. So I need to say Baruch Hamavdil Bein Kodesh L'chol before I can light the candle. So over here, and that's a quasi Havdalah that you'll be making. The actual Havdalah, we're going to say Sunday night. After Tisha B'Av, we're going to make Havdalah then. Okay? Not using besamim. Why are we not going to use besamim, the spices? When do we use the spices? Only when Shabbos ends, because that. Why do we use the spices? To wake us up, to keep us on our feet after that neshama yetera, after the extra neshama leaves us, and we're a little unsteady. We need to have some smelling salts to keep us on our feet. And the bracha of the candle, that we will do Saturday night, as right after Havdalah, after Mariv. We're not making Havdalah. We will make the bracha on fire Saturday night. So we're not going to do that on Sunday night. Sunday night, it's simply going to be the blessing on the wine and the blessing of Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'chol, who separates between the holy and mundane, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So Saturday night, let's say if Shabbos ends at 8:30, I'm going to call Mariv. I called it for 8:45, whatever it is. So before we get into the car, or even pick up our keys, we say, Baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'chol. That will allow you to do malacha. That will not allow you to eat until Havdalah, but we're going into a fast day. So anyhow, we're not eating until the next night. Okay? Yes?
So is it the Mariv and then the closing Havdalah and then the next day will be the actual Havdalah?
Yes, Sunday night will be Havdalah, just using a cup of wine, the blessing on the wine, and the blessing on the blessing of Havdalah, Hamavdil, of separating. Okay, clear? Okay, so that's why our schedule will need to be different on next Shabbat, because you have to finish eating by sunset. Okay, and that will be, I don't know, it's on the calendar. Okay, good. Now, I'm probably not going to have class next Tuesday because I'm flying back on Tuesday. Okay, so just quickly to go over Tisha B'Av itself. Okay, so on Tisha B'Av, that was the date of the destruction of the first temple and the second temple. Okay, that was when the spies came back with the slanderous report about the land of Israel and our tears about not going into the land of Israel, which led to our remaining in the desert for those 40 years. Okay, and that is Tisha B'Av. As we mentioned, Tisha B'Av is the only of the rabbinic fasts where it's not from morning till night, but it starts already sunset the previous night. We don't wear leather suede shoes on the whole day of Tisha B'Av. Okay? A leather belt is not an issue. A leather skirt is not an issue. It's only shoes. Like a mourner. A mourner does not wear leather shoes for the entire time of the mourning. Okay? Also, we don't until midday of Tisha B'Av, until that Sunday midday. Now, why would midday be at about 1 or 1:30? What type of midday is that? Tell me, Trishi.
There's no actual.
Yeah. Midday is not an arbitrary 12 noon. Midday is the actual midpoint between sunrise and sunset. That's midday. So anything that is halachic based on midday, it's not going to be an arbitrary time on the clock. It's going to be, right, exactly the midpoint. Okay, good. So until midday, so that includes the night and the next morning, we don't sit on regular chairs like a mourner. A mourner sits on a lower chair in the house of mourning. Either we have here in shul, we have special chairs, mourners' chairs that people utilize during their mourning, or people just take off the cushion of their couch and sit. Here too, we sit on lower chairs. What happens over here? So either people bring a stool with them, or people bring a pillow with them and they sit on the floor, or some people will turn the chair over and kind of sit like that on the chair. I usually sit on the step in front of the Aron Kodesh where I sit, right? So as a mourner, we don't sit on normal chairs. When it comes to sleeping at night, you can sleep in your bed, okay? But you would ideally be a little bit less luxurious in your sleep. If you normally have two pillows, use one pillow, right? Try to be a little bit less luxurious in your sleep. Okay. So leather shoes, right? That's the entire Tisha B'Av. We don't wash at all. Forget about showering. You don't wash at all. Whereas on a regular fast day, right, a person could brush their teeth, rinse their mouth, right, as long as they don't swallow anything. Here, we don't brush our teeth. We don't rinse our mouth, right? No food liquid goes into our mouth at all. Even washing, we don't do. Now, what problem will we have if we're not going to be washing? What is a necessary washing that we need to do, my friends?
Wash hands.
Well, after the bathroom, if your hands are dirty, you can do that. But when we wake up in the morning, we need to wash our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So normally we wash up until our wrists. On Tisha B'Av and on Yom Kippur, we wash until our knuckles. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After the bathroom, you can wash your hands, right? If your hands are soiled, then you would wash your hands. Soap, whatever it is. Okay? But we don't wash during Tisha B'Av. Actually says as follows, interesting. One is accustomed to rinse his mouth or teeth daily, may do so even with water on the other fast days, if the bad taste in his mouth causes him or others distress. On Tisha B'Av, however, this is permissible only in instances of great distress. Okay? So a little more lenient than I was saying. However, since care must be taken not to swallow the water, he should not bend over when rinsing. I would say typically on Tisha B'Av, we just don't. On Yom Kippur, even this is not allowed.
And just
1 second. Yeah, and that will include mouthwash or anything like that. Yes.
Just to double check again, those who have to take medication.
Okay. Capsules, bitter tablets, or bitter liquor medicine, right, without water is permissible. Okay?
Without water?
Without water. Okay? If you need, yeah. So if it's a pill that's taken once daily, so take it Saturday night before nightfall, and then take it again Sunday night after the fast. If it's something that needs to be taken night and morning, so then, and you can take it without water. So if the doctor says that you can miss a morning, then you would miss a morning. Right? Why don't you practice doing it without water now?
I try to do it with water and it gets stuck.
Maybe that's the problem.
It tastes like.
Don't use water. That's what's getting stuck. Go without the water.
It's one of those pills that just they're so dry, it just, and they are,
And the taste.
the taste is the absolute worst.
Oh gosh, and then you can't drink anything to get the taste out.
Mm-hmm. It's okay, that's a me issue.
So what if someone has like blood pressure medication or something, and that if they don't take it, it'll really like severely.
Then then they need to take it. If they could take it without water, that's ideal. Otherwise, you take it with the smallest amount that one is able to do it.
I'm like looking at you, that doctor hat.
Blink twice. What should I do?
Rabbi, I just remembered one of the questions on my thing this weekend that I didn't know the answer to. I think I figured out. I remember you talked about it. I couldn't remember what you said. Brushing your teeth on Shabbos. You can do it.
Okay.
Just with a dry.
So brushing teeth on Shabbos. What are the issues with brushing teeth on Shabbos?
Squeezing.
Okay, so well, the toothpaste going from a gel to a liquid could be a problem of nolad, of creating something new. So you'd want to use either liquid toothpaste, or very simply, what I do is I rinse my mouth with mouthwash, and then I put in my toothbrush and I brush, and it gets as lathered up as regular. Another issue, right? What might be some other issues?
With the question she asked.
Yeah, with
What about
brushing
an
teeth.
electronic toothbrush?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Electronic toothbrush,
No,
absolutely
no.
not.
Yeah.
Isn't it
So
like,
then I would need to buy a manual.
You have to buy a manual. Yeah.
I've never
I-
thought of that.
Yeah, I have a Shabbos toothbrush, which is I like to use electric toothbrush,
Yeah.
and I have my Shabbos toothbrush, which is good old fashioned.
Even if you
That's
put,
good to know.
even if you put the toothpaste night before Shabbat.
Correct. The
Then
issue
that's
is
different.
not from the tube onto the
Ah.
brush. The issue is it started off as a gel, and next thing you brush, and there's no longer gel; it's a liquid.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Isn't the other issue like if your gums start to bleed?
Okay. If your gums are going to be bleeding, you should go see a dentist. Your gums should not be bleeding when you brush or floss. If they do, then you're not doing a good enough job. Go see a good dentist and get some guidance on how to brush better. So it should not be. And I don't get any commission from the dentists in the community, but right, if your teeth are going to be bleeding, that's going to be a problem, right? A Shabbos problem. But your teeth should not be bleeding when you're brushing your teeth. If they are, that's, like I said, that's another problem that should be dealt with. Okay, so that's one issue when it comes to brushing or flossing. Okay, when it comes to flossing, you need to have the floss cut before Shabbos. You can cut it on Shabbos. One of my domestic responsibilities is come Saturday night, I cut the floss myself and for Natalie for the next Friday night and put in the medicine cabinet to take notes. Right?
I was gonna say, learn from him.
Right, and that way we know that it's done. Okay, so flossing, brushing, bleeding is an issue. Toothpaste is an issue, so you want to use a liquid toothpaste, which they have Israeli stuff they sell, right? I think it's called, right? Or just mouthwash, right? And another issue is another potential issue is schita. Schita is like squeezing out a sponge or a brush, right? So typically we wet our brush and then do the brushing. Here, like I said, mouthwash, spit it out, put a dry brush in and do your brushing, and within, it's not going to be dry for very long. Within moments, it'll be fine and it won't feel any different. Okay?
Are you allowed to take a shower on Shabbos?
Okay.
Ready?
Let me come to that soon. Okay. Now, one last issue, which I think is a non-issue, right? would be, some say an issue is rinsing off the toothbrush afterwards. Why might that be an issue? Okay, well, yes. So you wouldn't brush it off and move your thumb on it. That would be schita also. Let's say I just put it under the right. I just put it there, and then I put it back into the little cup that holds my toothbrushes. Why might that be an issue? Well, why am I rinsing it off? Okay, so that's what I say, right? But some might argue you're rinsing it off for the next time you're going to use it. So you're preparing for Shabbos, on Shabbos for after Shabbos. And you're not allowed to prepare on Shabbos for after Shabbos. However, the way I view it, and other poskim agree, not poskim, but many poskim agree, is that that's not a problem because you're not rinsing it off because next time, that's rather it's dirty now. And the way that I finish my teeth brushing activity is that I clean off the brush. So therefore you could rinse it off with water afterwards, but as Paz said, you wouldn't take your finger and clean it like that, and because that would be doing an act of schita. Okay? Good. Okay? I'm sure that's what you told them, right?
Totally.
Okay, so there's the bleeding, there's the nolad, the toothpaste into a liquid, there is the schita, and there is the hachana preparation, which I think is not an issue. Okay.
Wait, Rabbi, before we end that.
Yes.
But
no electric toothbrush.
For the toothbrush, once you're done using it, can you just put it away and then clean it again, or clean it after Shabbos?
If you want, you can.
To avoid potentially doing something.
If you want, you can. You certainly can. But I'm saying you don't need to do that. Right? You don't need to, but certainly if you want to, then you can. Okay. In terms of showering on Shabbos, so what are the potential issues of showering on Shabbos? Okay. So one issue also will be schita, right? That when you are drying your hair, right? Not an issue for me, but when drying your hair, so you're squeezing the water out from your hair. Now that's not absolutely an issue because one can do that without without squeezing, just that. And a married woman, if her mikveh night is on a Friday night, then she goes to the mikveh on a Friday night. The 2 nights a year that a married woman, even if that's her mikveh night, will not go to the mikveh are Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av. Okay? Those are 2 nights where even if that is the mikveh night, the 7th night, right, 7 clean days, that's the mikveh night, she will not go to the mikveh. Bathing is absolutely prohibited on Tisha B'Av and on Yom Kippur, and marital relations are also prohibited on Yom Kippur and on Tisha B'Av. Okay? So there are no marital relations on Tisha B'Av, and actually, we view it as if the wife is in a nida state, and therefore a married couple would not even share the same bed on the night of Tisha B'Av. Okay?
Would then, for a woman, if that is her day that she normally would have been in the mikveh, would it just move to the next day?
Correct. So after the night after Yom Kippur, the night after Tisha B'Av is when that woman, that situation, would go to the mikveh. Okay. So bathing on Shabbos, right? So another major issue of bathing on Shabbos is
Hot water.
hot water. Why is that a problem, Tricia?
Because you're not allowed to.
Yeah, once you turn on the hot water in your house, what's happening? Yeah, not turning on the boiler. Cold water is going into the boiler to replace that hot water that came out. So basically, if I turn on any faucet of mine on Shabbos, hot water on Shabbos, I am directly cooking water. Cold water is now going into the boiler. So unless one lives in a large apartment complex where there is one central massive boiler for all the apartments, so there one can assume that there's always water going in there. And my taking some hot water is not going to be causing cold water to be going in. There's a constant flow of cold water going in, regardless of my usage. But if you're in a private home, or if you're in the apartments like we have over here, right, where I imagine where you are, every 4 apartments probably has one boiler. How does it work by you guys?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but there's no, it's spread out. Probably every unit, probably every 4, every building, right? So there, you can't assume that there's a constant flow of cold water going into the boiler. So there, you don't use any hot water from the faucet on Shabbos, okay? Now, when we lived in New York, the cold water in the winter coming out of that faucet was really cold water, really seriously cold water. So what we would do is we would fill, for washing the TLC Dayim before a meal, we would fill the water from the faucet and then take some water from a hot water urn and fill it and add in, not enough to cook it, of course, just to take some of the bite out of it. Why is taking water out of the hot water urn fine?
It's a second vessel.
Well,
It's
it's already cooked and it's not being replaced with any cold water, right? On Yom Tov, if my hot water urn is getting low, I could add some cold water to my hot water urn. Why is that okay?
Not cooked.
It is. I'm cooking the water, but why is that okay? On Yom Tov, I'm allowed to cook. As long as I'm not starting the flame or anything like that, I can't turn it on. It's on already. So there, the cooking of the cold water is not going to be an issue at all. But on Shabbos, it would be were I adding anything into that hot water urn. Okay? So if a person, now besides that, there is an issue with bathing the entire body at once on Shabbos. The person is feeling very uncomfortable, then a person can wash using cold water or water that was heated up before Shabbos, can wash, limb by limb, but one would not, ideally would not be taking a full shower on Shabbos. Yes,
So do people typically shower before Shabbos starts and then
For
shower
sure.
again after?
for
Yes?
sure.
Okay.
Right? One of the ways that we honor Shabbos is by bathing in preparation for Shabbos. Yeah. So Friday afternoon, right? Big families. That's where
So you're not allowed to
get
put
out of the
makeup.
shower. 5 people are waiting.
So you're not allowed to put makeup on Shabbos day as well.
I'm sorry.
Can you put makeup on Shabbos day?
Okay. So makeup on Shabbos day. What would you ladies say?
You can, there's just certain
So
makeup.
before.
Before Shabbos?
There's also
Before
brands.
Shabbos, but there's also certain brands that are Shabbos friendly. So, because there's certain things like there's no blending of
Okay.
Like
anything,
dyeing of the
no
skin.
dyeing of the skin. So a lot of the makeups are powder based.
Right.
There's no mixing of brushes. Yeah, the brushes each. So if it's like blush or foundation or whatever, they have to have their own brush. So there's no mixing of.
Wait, what do you said something about dyeing the color?
Yeah, you
Like,
can't.
You mean the foundation? Like
So you can't dye,
What
which
if
I think
you're
we're
not
gonna
allowed to
probably
dye?
cover in here. So
So like
lipstick.
pretend like tie dye. Like you couldn't do that on Shabbat, but that
Even
applies
to
to
your skin.
makeup
Yeah.
as well because you're dyeing your skin. You put blush or you put like use these powder.
My mother always said,
kosher brand.
it's more important for a boy to be good looking than for a girl. Because the girl can, do what she needs to do. The boy is kind of like what you see. What you see is what you get. So it makes life so much simpler.
That's the other problem too, is because if
Can
you
you use
put,
white?
no,
Because the white pipes are individually.
but it's the problem, I think.
Yeah,
with
squeezing out.
So then what do women do? Because you're supposed to get dressed up for Shabbos dinner and then you come to shul. So I would want to
Friday.
remove my makeup from Friday night and then reapply it Saturday.
So you can add on top. That's why, like, the Shabbos makeup brands in particular are good because they're.
I'm going to bring Natalie to one of these classes.
She has
Ready?
beautiful blue mascara that she wears.
does. I love her blue mascara.
So, but
I
we
did not
cannot-
know this about makeup.
Yeah.
This is news to me,
I think that's why some, like, unless you really, like, got your thing down, it's just, at least for me, it's just.
I still don't have it down yet. I come with fresh face almost all the time because it's just easier.
I was gonna say I didn't know for like the longest time, but then when I found out, I'm like, oh well, it's easier to just wear no makeup. It honestly makes getting ready much easier.
Yeah.
Well, getting ready for, on Friday, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But Shabbos morning, right? I think there are some powder. I don't know.
I could share the links
about
with you.
washing your face.
Shalom.
by
One of the
Yeah.
blessings,
It's a
one of the
staple.
blessings that we make in the morning, that a man makes in the morning, Shalom Asani Isha. That I don't have to deal with all these things.
I love that.
Can I borrow your notes? Is that okay?
Wow.
No. Remember the notes that you prepared for that?
Okay. So Tisha B'Av, so we went through the washing, right? Washing like that. Perfume and stuff. We're not putting on Tisha B'Av. Deodorant if that's necessary, but anything like that. And the fast go now after midday. Then one can already sit on a regular chair. Okay, so again, there's no eating, drinking, there's no washing, there's no anointing, there's no leather shoes, and there's no marital relations. Those are the things that we abstain from on the full day of Tisha B'Av.
Those are the things that we abstain from, but the things that we should be doing is coming.
Oh, and Torah study.
Yeah.
Because Torah study is something that brings much joy.
You should
Right.
or
We do not.
do not.
Right? But things that are Tisha B'Av related, right? So then, right now, the day of Tisha B'Av itself, the davening in the morning, we have. I told you a Saturday night, the night of Tisha B'Av. There's a special Mariv with the reading of Eicha. The lights get dimmed here, so everybody should plan to join us on Saturday night. And this year it's Sunday morning. Also, it's a special davening with a lot of keynote, a lot of these lament. It's a whole book that we use, and we do a much shortened version of about 10 of them, but we explain what they're about, and therefore it's very, very worthwhile to join us.
When did you say that was again?
Sunday morning, a week from this Sunday.
Sunday morning.
A week from this Sunday. Yeah.
On
Same
Tisha
time as
B'Av.
usual?
On Tisha B'Av itself, yes, Tisha B'Av morning. Men will not wear their talis and tefillin in the morning, only at mincha in the afternoon. Yeah, on Sunday. Not this Sunday, a week from Sunday on Tisha B'Av. Leather belts are okay. If you're into leather pants, also okay. Just not leather shoes. Yeah.
Leader host. So, during the 9 days, you can't drink wine.
Correct.
Beer.
Beer, one could have.
You can eat meat also.
No meat, no chicken, no wine, no grape juice. And Havdalah, you'll have Adam drink it. This Saturday night. Next Saturday night, there's no Havdalah because we're going right into Tisha B'Av. All right?
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. Good. So we'll soon, next Tuesday, we won't be meeting. We'll meet again a week from that, whatever date that is. After Tisha B'Av. That's why I wanted to go through all this. All right?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Very good. Okay. Shelby, much strength to you.
Yes.
Hope everything goes well next week.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Be well.
Where in Florida you guys going?
We'll be around the Deerfield.